Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Rodan. And today, as you can see, I'm still continuing my Disney movie marathon by doing a follow-up of the thing I was doing a moment ago, folks. Yeah, I'm making a part two. Yeah, I'm gonna just do my best to condense this specific thing I'm talking about into two parts because I don't want to do multiple parts like I've done before with different subjects regarding Disney and a certain religious individual who seems to have a bone to pick with Disney. And of course, I'm going to have to age restricted because said individual want to make as if that there was some sort of propaganda against Christians because Disney is okay with the LGBT community and raping kids, which of course is a huge stereotype, of course. And it's just some convoluted mess that he's just jumping the gun here. So, what does this have to do with the actual LGBT community? And of course, he's doing this podcast thing with a friend or whatever. I don't know who this other person is really. It could be just a relative or I don't know, a family friend, perhaps. I don't know, nor care enough to find out. But that's not really the point of this video. Just me responding to their bigotry and then having them come up to this big, absurd conclusion that Disney is out to get to the Christian families. Again, just based on what I just said when it comes to the LGBT community, and seems to have a mix up when it comes to being trans and drag queens, cross dressers, so on and so forth. And that they're clearly not all one and the same. But which is something I've spoken about multiple times before. I'm getting tired of bringing it up, honestly, because it's just coming up. I'm just being repetitive here. Yeah, but anyway, I know it sounds like I'm glossing over, but again, like this is supposed to be a part two. Of course, I'm hoping people will watch the first part before coming to this, because I don't want to drag this video longer than it should. Of course, I'm just going to give a bit of idea, my 2 cents here. Of course, just to set up to the next bit. Of course, I was going to keep this in one video, but it was going to be over an hour if I did. But I mean, these videos gonna be lengthy anyway, sure. But I'm just saying. All right, just thought to bring that up for a brief moment here because there's quite a bit I want to mention here, folks. Of course, and I do appreciate anybody watching these because, like I just said, they can be fairly long. So, of course, this one's gonna be a longer than the first one. But yeah, thank you anybody that actually sat through this, of course, and this whole absurdity of crazy, I guess you can say. Boy, people can be questionable. Anyway, let's just dig into it, shall we? So here we go. Yada yada blah blah.
There's this minor character who happens to be a lesbian who references her lesbian lover. I don't like that, but I don't think the kids will even get that. It's going to go right over their head. My own children, whose friends were Sing Onward, were asking me, Daddy, can we see Onward? My children are Honor, who's 10, Mercy, who's 8, and Valor, who's 5. And I said, no, we're not going to see Onward. Well, why not? Well, I didn't want to get into it right now to have that conversation, but I just put my foot down and said, we're not seeing that. There's something bad in there that I don't think is right for children to see. But I mean, to think that I'm having this conversation in my own house is revealing of how insidious this stuff is.
Of course, gotta put in the
Oh, won't somebody please think of the children?
because they're under the impression that the LGBT community, specifically gay men, and it's always gay men. The gay men are blamed for everything. They're going after them specifically, but anyway, they're acting that they're under the person that the LGBT community just want to come in and wreck up your household, the family structure, because being a part of the community, again specifically gay men, has no morals, and that's why you're gay in the first place because you have no morality. You grew up all wrong or something, some sort of absurd notion. Of course, everything they just said there is complete and utter nonsense. Every single word of it. Oh boy, these people. I mean, seriously, you have to be kidding me.
You got it. And the word insidious was exactly the word that came to my mind, Adam. And friends, 2017, big year. Andy Mack out of the closet as a 12-year-old or whatever he was. Looks like he's 12 or 13 years of age.
Oh, won't somebody please think of the children?
Beauty and the Beast for tweens and teens.
Oh, won't somebody please think of the children?
And then 2020.
Let me just mention Doc McStuffins. The same year, 2017.
They're referring to this animated series, folks, which I also brought up before. And yeah, in the first part of this video, they did build up a TV show before, but it was live action, but now they're talking about an animated show this time around, which, yes, they had a storyline for this lesbian couple. And Kevin Swanson and his friend over here took this as if it was proof, it was evidence that they want to indoctrinate kids, which of course is a lie.
On the TV channel Disney Junior, this is for children 2, 3, 4, and 5 years of age. And I think this goes along with
Won't somebody please think of the children?
the theme that Disney is increasingly pushing this homosexual transgendered agenda at younger and younger ages. In that particular cartoon, Doc McStuffins, there were 2 moms of one family, and they were voiced by lesbian actresses Wanda Sykes, a comedian, and Portia de Rossi.
They're only pointing that out because, again, they took it as if, oh, if the voice actress, okay, actresses are lesbian, therefore the characters might be lesbian. That's not always true at all. Just because somebody might be this or that does not mean the show itself is going to be a reflection of this sexual orientation, unless the show or movie is about that specifically. But usually the case, even if they're gay, straight, or whatever else you can think of, it's not going to be brought up, and it shouldn't, because it's not your business anyway, like, at all. Whatever.
Who I believe is the wife of Ellen DeGeneres, the comedian and afternoon talk show host.
Again, totally irrelevant. Even if that's the case, who the hell cares? Like, what does that have to do with anything? Whoever Ellen DeGeneres is married to, whom, by the way, yes, had something to do with Disney a while back, but whoever she's married with, it's her business. Who cares? She can marry whoever she wants, as long as she's not, actually ruining your life. Then who cares? But they're taking it as if, like, people like this are being assholes and they're just attacking everybody, even though they have no actual evidence, as in physical evidence of any kind, like, at all. But okay.
So this is what our kids are getting. If they're
Yeah, I was gonna use this clip again, but I think I've already overused it. So, but you get the idea here.
watching Disney Junior and the parents think everything's fine, and Doc McStuffins is a safe show for 2 to 5 year olds.
Yep. Doing this again. That's not the point, like, at all. Christ, man. What they're getting at is that they're trying to really, really, really hammer in the notion that in order for someone to turn gay or lesbian, they must have been molested when they were kids. And that's how, like, they're treated as if it's some sort of spiritual virus kind of a thing, and it transforms from body to body. Are you kidding me? Sounds like it would make a good horror movie, though. I mean, except for the, rapey and kids part, but outside of that, have a spirit from jumping body to body by consenting adults having sex, regardless of their gender. Yeah, that just sounds like a good horror movie, though. Hey, somebody write that down. Yeah, seriously. Turn that into like an erotic horror or something. I don't know. Anyway.
I mean,
Yeah.
It's just horrifying.
Yeah. And 2020, it takes the final step. Why? Because at this point, we've got Disney DuckTales, which, as I see it,
They were referring to the DuckTales reboot that they made a little while ago, which features 2 gay guys, and somehow that's, again, trying to bring little kitties to the playground and do something to them.
Disney DuckTales is not for tweens or teens. Disney DuckTales is for the 4, 5, 6, 7-year-olds. Disney DuckTales this year, in fact, just a month ago, Disney DuckTales debuted 2 homosexuals. These are men now. And this is, for some reason, introducing men as homosexuals and introducing them as foster people for some kid was a very important move on the part of Disney. It was a final move in some respects to bring homosexuality as normative into the mindset of 6 and 7 and 8-year-olds. And the same thing for Onward. Onward is not for the teens. Onward is for the 6 and 7 and 8-year-olds. And Out, again, entirely centered on 2 homosexuals. These are male homosexuals. And the entire theme of Out, and again, this for 6, 7, 8, 9-year-olds, the entire theme, all based.
I don't know what they're talking about. I mean, really? They're acting as if there's some sort of scheme behind closed doors, like a bunch of devil worshippers. Of course, it's a complete lie. And again, they have nothing to support their evidence. They have nothing. I guess you can say the better way to say is that they have nothing to support their claims. Is what I'm getting at. They're just jumping the gun and acting as if what they're saying is true.
Around homosexuality.
Yeah.
So, friends, this is the sexualizing of kids. This is the homosexualizing of kids. This is what was going on in the Greek gymnasiums, pedophilia, corrupting children by sexualizing them. This is what they do. John Maynard Keynes, one of the very first homosexuals of the 1900s, was doing the very same thing. Harvey Milk, same thing in the 1960s with his pedophilia. This is the kind of thing that homosexuality is about, especially as these major film producing companies present it for children. Disney has taken up the task of homosexualizing and sexualizing kids in the most perverse manner possible. And friends, it's just wrong. It's like pulling the pin on a hand grenade in a kindergarten classroom. And I'm just saying it's time for parents, it's time for pastors, it's time for every spiritual leader in America to stand up and say, this is just pure evil. We don't.
Just trying to really hammer in the fact that if you're part of the LGBT community, that you have no morals. If you're gay, trans, or lesbian, you just want to have sex all willy-nilly. Like you have no moral compass whatsoever, like at all. Like you're morally deprived. You're some sex-crazed maniac. You just want to have sex with everything. But of course, somehow means Disney's okay with that. Somehow. But there's no connection to anything. If you're going to be a sexual deviant, it doesn't matter what your sexual orientation. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen, regardless if you're straight or whatever else, of course.
Pull pins of hand grenades in kindergarten classrooms, and we're not going to do it with our media either.
Right. And I want to get into some of the detail about Out. This is a short film. It wasn't in the theaters. It was streamed over Disney Plus, about a man named Greg who struggles with coming out to his parents as homosexual before moving in with his boyfriend, Manuel. And like the old movie with Tom Hanks called Big, where he is able to...
Oh boy, you can tell his friend is really kissing his ass. But, or whoever he is, you can say. That's a bit irrelevant in this case because they just want to make as if that you're against family, you must hate kids. If you're okay with the LGBT community, which of course is a complete lie, obviously. But okay, they just want to beat your head that the kids
somehow magically switch minds with an 8-year-old boy, and he's the game executive, and now as the game executive, he's got the mind of a boy and is creating all these fun games because he's got the mind of a boy, and the boy is of course got the mind of an adult. Similarly, Greg, the lead main character of this Disney short called Out that was just streamed over the last couple of weekends, is talking to his dog kind of out loud, holding his dog's collar, wishing he could switch bodies with the dog because he's so stressed out by his parents coming. He doesn't know if he has the quote unquote courage to tell his parents he's homosexual. And all of a sudden, through the magic of Disney, Greg is inside the mind of the dog, and the dog's mind is in the mind of Greg. And when his mother and father coming over, the father's outdoor grilling, the mother's kind of snooping around. The dog, who's actually Greg's in the mind of the dog, is frantically.
So yeah, and acting as if the only way someone could be gay if some sort of like a lust demon that was transferred into you through of course sex. But that's not the case. According to people like Kevin Swanson is and whoever this person is, he's within a podcast. I can as if that you must be okay with kids being molested if you watch the Disney Channel or any of their movies for that matter.
Trying to pull away and put away all these pictures showing him and Manuel in a kind of a loving embrace type thing around the mantelpiece, and he's hiding them in the drawers. It's clearly designed for kids. It's animated. There's lots of, in at least the trailer, there's lots of humor in it, like you always have. But this very short from Disney, Kevin, is.
And of course, they're acting as if that they're wasting their technology, whether it's hand-drawn animation or anything else or CGI. They're acting as if that their talent, which somehow was given to God, I mean by God, I mean, is that you're wasting your talent. This is not the way to do it, of course, because again, they only beat you over the head that if you're part of the LGBT community, you're some sort of sexual deviant of some kind, of course. But that's not the case, really. Again, like I said a moment ago, if that's going to happen, it will happen regardless of what his sexual orientation is. It doesn't matter what you are at the end of the day. Someone's going to be a pervert. Going to be a pervert, regardless. It's going to happen no matter what.
Directed by Stephen Clay Hunter, a name that most of us probably don't know, but he was the one who directed WALL-E and Toy Story 2. And the film's producer, Max Sachar, was the one who worked on Coco and Incredibles 2. So they're using their God-given talents for satanic purposes. That's what we need to really communicate clearly to the young generations.
Again, they're listing off this movie, that movie, or this movie and that movie, this movie and that movie. They're doing this quite a bit because they're trying to act as if they're trying to connect the dots, so to speak. Oh, this individual or that individual, this editor or that animator or that script writer, so on and so forth. They're gay. Somehow they're doing something bad behind the scenes, which of course is a complete lie. One of the shorts that they brought up is out, which I've seen before, and I did review before, and I brought it up on a number of occasions, again for the same reason. And it's trying to make it as if like Disney is trying to use these animated shorts or movies, or at least the people who work on these movies or shorts, or I guess in this case even the TV shows, whether it's animated or live action, that there's some sort of spell going on with the images, and if you look at them, and if the kids watch this, and that somehow is enough to turn someone gay, but that's not the case though. You can't just turn gay, just like you can't turn Mexican, you can't turn Chinese, you can't turn Korean, just by looking at some images on the screen, whether the screen being on your laptop, your cell phone, or your TV or whatever. You can't just stare at the screen and poof, bam, whammo, there you go. You're gay. Suddenly you're a lesbian. Suddenly you're trans. That's not how any of this works. And I mean, okay, I don't really like their TV shows. I mean, Disney. When it comes to Disney TV shows, I tend to not like them because they tend to be really bad in terms of writing, character development, and overall plot. So why I don't like them, but if of course it's for different reasons. It's not for the same reasons that Kevin Swanson and the other guy, whoever he is, it's not for the same reason, obviously. No, it's not for the same reason whatsoever. I don't like their TV shows because they are genuinely bad, at least for the most part. Even the stuff that's halfway okay, I still don't like them really. Maybe just me, I guess, but whatever. Just these guys are, come on.
And as we wrap up this edition of the program, friends, I'd like to focus on that issue because these are called mediums.
Okay, I'm not your friend, pal. Okay, that's not gonna happen. We're never gonna be buddies. We're never gonna be pals. Yeah, this whole me you situation as friends is not gonna work out ever. I don't care what you say or do. It's not gonna work out. Even if you change your ways, it's still not gonna happen. It ain't gonna work out. I'm not exactly a forgiving person. But moreover, he's trying to again just beat you over the head that Disney's up to something bad. The studio, he's referring to the people who work the studio like they were gonna work their way into your household and destroy the Christian way because they're a bunch of hateful people, apparently. I don't know where you're getting all this from, but okay, sure, whatever.
Media is a medium. And I want you to remember that. The devil uses media as the medium, and mediums were typically witches that channeled spirits in seances. That
Yes, you heard him right. He's trying to compare gay men to witches, and of course, lesbians, of course, and acting as if it's a part of a spell. Yes, he's assuming that witches are real. You heard him right there, folks, out from his own mouth. He thinks that they can use the TV, yes, the television that you're gonna be watching these Disney movies on the Disney Plus. Even though you're gonna technically do it on your computer and your cell phone as well or tablet, but okay, let's say just a TV, I guess. But yeah, just trying to find any kind of way that the spell will get off from the screen. I guess regardless of the device, I suppose, and just go into your soul, and that somehow would turn you gay as well, just because there's gay images on the screen. That doesn't make any sense. That sounds so over the top.
that's what a medium is. Hopefully, none of you have ever gone to a seance, but that's what the medium is. A medium invites the demon into the presence of others. And these medium will channel the spiritual power, which opens up the minds of those who are engaged with it. And the demons then have an easier opportunity accessing these others in the room. And that's what the medium did. Well, that's exactly what this media does. Disney works as a medium.
And yet, people like Kevin Swanson wonder why people take Christianity as a joke. This is a punchline, except that it's been taken seriously. So, of course, apparently Disney, again, he's referring to the company, like I was saying, the people who work there. Not Walt Disney himself, because, he's long dead. But anyway, moreover is that, yeah, he's exactly saying that they're using some sort of spells that will get off from the screen and use to attack your kids. So, yeah, they're going to convert your kids to being gay. Like you convert into Christianity. That doesn't make any sense at all.
Disney opens up the minds of children so that demons have an easier opportunity to access their minds. Movies, music can work this way, and it often does in our present situation, especially as principalities and powers are working very, very hard in music production, movie production to bring an evil spirit.
Yeah, he's trying to, of course, link up black magic to homosexuals because you being gay is because it has something to do with black magic, and Disney itself is hiring people who use voodoo and whatnot in their studios and whatnot, which of course just sounds absurd when you think about it. He's acting as if that the fact that you watch this on your TV, the spell itself will go through your TV screen and into your eyes and corrupt your soul. Oh boy, all he's trying to use is what I would call it spooky language. That's all this is. It's spooky, scary language. That's all.
Into and evil content into the media. So our children can become enchanted by media. It's bewitching. It's to be put under the power of it or under the control of it. It's interesting if you shut off the movie and critique it, suddenly everybody's offended. Why? Because you broke the spell. You broke the enchantment. And people don't like that kind of thing. Listen to what Paul says in 1 Corinthians 6:12. All things are lawful for me, but all things are not helpful. All things are lawful for me, but I will not be brought under the power of any.
Of course, he's trying to quote the Bible and whatnot, trying to use verses, these quotes, of course. And a lot of the Bible quotes or verses, whatever you want to call them, a lot of them are extremely vague. When you think about it, they're really, really vague. At least vague enough, even if there's some detail there, that you can be I guess not translated. What's the better word here? Um, be used for whatever. You can misinterpret. Yeah, there you go. You can misinterpret them. Yep, some Christians would unintentionally misinterpret some of these lines or whatever, or intentionally and purposely misinterpret them just to manipulate the viewer and whatnot, make it as if like you're the crazy one if you disagree with them. which of course is just that's not the case here, like at all, because not every gay person is bad. Okay, that's what he's trying to get. Every single one is bad.
Foods for the stomach, stomach for the foods, but God will destroy both it and them. Now, the body is not for sexual immorality, but for the Lord, and the Lord for the body. And God both raised up the Lord and will also raise us up by his power. Well, here's
Of course, he would try to make you feel guilty if you don't listen to God. How ungraceful you are if you don't listen to God. Oh, God provides you with shelter. God provides you with food and whatnot. Oh, how dare you disobey God? You're so ungrateful. How dare you? And it's a form of gaslighting. I mean, think about again, they're going to the whole manipulation thing with Christians, which I brought up before, and in other videos, of course, it's gaslighting. It's a form of gaslighting, trying to make you feel guilty, for for being rebellious, of course, for being you. Just the fact you being yourself is somehow an evil thing. I mean, what you can't have your own opinion on things, and you're forbidden. You're forbidden to to live your life. This sounds like a dictatorship when you think about it. It's very much in lines of a dictatorship. But then Kevin Swanson actually accused of trans people of being communists. So if there's, come on now, give me a break. This is stupid.
the question. Are we coming under the power or under the control of these things? Are we being instructed wrongly about sexuality? Are we loosening our own standards because the world is chipping away at biblical morals?
In other words, the entire planet Earth is falling apart because they're not paying attention to the Bible. Well, at least his version of the Bible, anyway. Which doesn't make any sense. When you think about it, there's already been many denominations of Christianity anyway. When you think about it, there's been multiple different versions of said Bible. Just look at the Jehovah's Witnesses, look at the Mormons, look at the Roman Catholics, or the Eastern Catholics, so on and so forth. The Methodists, and so on and so forth. There's many different versions of the same book, and they're all saying the same thing. No, what you're doing is wrong. No, what you're doing is wrong. No, what you're doing is wrong. No, you're the sinner. No, you're the sinner. They're all saying the same damn thing. Oh, Christ.
Are we coming into communion with the unfruitful works of darkness to the point that we begin to appreciate the unfruitful works of darkness? You know, years ago,
There you go with the gaslighting again. Again, trying to make you feel bad for doing whatever you're doing. Even though he doesn't know you as a person, you, of course, pass judgment. Isn't that like a sin in the Bible, and you're not supposed to do that, like, at all? Yet here he is doing that very thing he's not supposed to be doing. Come on now. I guess that's what other Christians get criticized for. Picking, they're cherry. Yeah, what's the word? Oh yeah, cherry picking. They're cherry picking on what part of the Bible they want to do, and then you call them out on it. They'll act as if you're the bad guy. You're the crazy one for bringing this up. Oh boy, just very hypocritical.
I would critique the Hunger Games or Frozen or these other Disney flicks. And, immediately we would go to its self-conscious humanist autonomy and the music. I'm going to do whatever I want. I'm going to break all laws. I'm going, obvious stuff. But I get pushback from Christian families and pastors. And I wondered, have they come under the spell of this thing? Why would they be so?
Of course, I've already did a separate video where he trash talk Frozen on a number of occasions. But Disney didn't do the Arrow games. I mean, the movies are okay. Those movies are okay, I guess. But even if Disney had made it, that doesn't mean that they're bad. He's acting as if the new wave of Disney flicks, like from the 80s and 90s and the 2000s and upward, are all bad. The new age of Disney, the more modern take on Disney films, are all bad. Just because Elsa's a lesbian. I mean, okay, the thing is that with that, it was been rumored that she's a lesbian. That doesn't mean she actually is. I mean, she's not. Even if she was, that doesn't mean that Disney is trying to use, witchcraft and whatnot, trying to control the little kitties. Doesn't that's not how it works, like at all whatsoever.
In fact, the most controversial programs we have ever done in the history of generations has been The Hunger Games, Frozen, and all the rest. But why? Because of the enchantment, because of the spell that is cast over those who have come into deep appreciation for these great icons of culture, whether it be Frozen, whether it be the Hunger Games, or what have you. Entertainment can become a distraction, a diversion, oftentimes because we don't want to deal with God's reality. We're running away from God's solution, God's answer to the world's problem, God's redemption. Well, friends, Jesus is the answer for the world today. And as we wrap this up, set your mind on things that are above. Jesus is ruling on the right hand of the Father. He's bringing his enemies under his footstool. Jesus is going to judge the whole world. He will bring every matter into judgment, and he is our advocate before the Father. Keep your affections, keep your mind on things that are above. Don't surrender it to the powers of darkness. Philippians 4:8 also, finally, brethren, whatever things are true, whatever things are noble, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are of good report, if there is any virtue, if there is anything praiseworthy, meditate on these things, the things which you have learned and received and heard and saw in me. These do, and the God of peace will be with you. Well, that wraps up this edition of the Generations broadcast.
All right, let's just wrap things up, folks. Yeah, him and whoever he is with talking and whatnot. I think as if that Frozen. He's talking about the original one. I at least assume he's talking about the original one, the first Frozen film, which he has made a few comments, unflattering comments about the second one as well. So I don't know which one he's talking about. I'm guessing the first one. I don't know. But point being, yes, in both films, Elsa was said to be a lesbian, even though she was never was like at all in either film. But I'm guessing he's already talking about the Hunger Games because there's a female lead, which yes, he does have a problem with women doing things without a man, which yes, so screams out sexism. Yeah, he has issues with women doing this, which again I've already covered already. A lot of this I've already covered before in separate videos. So that's basically the rundown. He doesn't like the fact that there's even the slightest possibility of Elsa being a lesbian in these films, which he falsely accused these movies of promoting, rape just because of that. If you're a lesbian, he's okay. Apparently you're okay with uh, kids with diddling little kids. Apparently that's okay according to Disney in his eyes, which of course is a complete lie. Then he's trying to, of course, twist it around. He wants people to agree with him because hey, if a lot of people agree with him, how can it be any wrong? Of course, that's just jumping the gun there because of the fact that just because a lot of people agree to the same thing, whatever that one thing may be, it could be like anything. Whatever that one thing might be labeled as bad, and if there's a lot of people jumping the gun and saying that it's bad just because a truck ton of people say it's awful, that's not usually the case. I mean, it can be, but it just really depends on what that one thing is. Really, like a lot of the vast majority of people can agree that being a Nazi is bad, hating Jewish people is bad, or just communism in general, I guess you can say, is bad. Any form of it, like fascism, socialism, or whatever you would say, that just any form of communism can be labeled as bad. A lot of people do agree on these stuff like this are bad. So if a lot of people agree on something that's bad, it can be bad. It just really depends on what that one thing is. And but yeah, of course, like I said a moment ago, yes, Kevin Swanson did accuse of trans people of being communists and whatnot. I'm only bringing this up because of the fact that in the first part of this video, he accused the original Mulan movie about being trans just because Mulan was what, a drag king. But again, like I said in that video, it's not the same thing. This is something I discussed before already. This is something I already just brought before. These kinds of things, being a cross dresser, being a transvestite, being a drag queen, a drag king, or whatever you can think of when it comes to this kind of stuff. when it comes to individuals dressing up as the opposite gender, it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that they want a sex change. No, it doesn't mean that, and it also doesn't mean that they're gay either. You can be straight and be trans and be straight and dress up in the opposite gender. Yes, that's actually possible, believe it or not. But of course, he's getting all this wrong. This again, this kind of thing I've already discussed before, and I've already did another separate video where uh, Kevin Swanson was accusing trans people of being communists and rapists because they're apparently all of predators. I've already done a video about this as well, of course. So a lot of this just comes off as familiar territory, unfortunately. But yeah, this is it's just stupid. It's completely and utterly stupid when you think about it. What prompted him to think that all this was true? I mean, I'm not saying that there aren't any LGBT community members who would associate themselves with communism because there are those members that do that. And they're idiots. And they're completely idiots for doing that. If they want to associate themselves with communism, you, sir, or madam, or whatever, is a complete and utter moron. Why would you want to go to a government system that would be enslaving you? You'd be willing to do that. Look what happened in North Korea or that one part of China, Venezuela, or even in Cuba, just to name a few. Why would you be okay with this? I mean, don't get me wrong. I know America isn't exactly perfect, sure, but I'd much rather live here than Cuba. America is like the Paris Hotel in comparison. And also, to be perfectly clear, even though it shouldn't be explained because it's pretty damn obvious, just because I'm for capitalism doesn't mean I'm agreeing with Kevin Swanson. And, and that's the thing. I know people will assume that if you're fine with the free market, it assumes that you're racist. A lot of people have made those arguments. That's not the case at all. I mean, there are racist people in this country. That does exist. Unfortunately, that does exist in this country, even in this day and age. However, what Kevin Swanson claims that he's all for capitalism as well, but I find that highly questionable. And yeah, I'm just saying this because of the fact that a lot of what he believes in and his friend, whoever he was in the talking to, really aligns up with communism, or at least a form of it anyway. It really lines up with that when you think about it, because it doesn't make it's just about controlling, acting like a dictatorship, and just really trying to boss everyone around. Don't do this, don't do that. You can't do this, you can't do that. Don't go up, don't go down, don't go left, don't go right, don't go forward, don't go up, don't do this or whatever. But yeah, what he believes in really lines up with communism. Again, like I said, at least a form of it anyway. But I know, I'm getting into politics here and whatnot. Always vaguely into politics anyway. I'm just pointing this out because just because I'm all for the free market, I'm all for people making money as long as legal, of course. That doesn't mean I'm agreeing with Kevin Swanson. I just thought I'll just point that out because I don't want anybody in the comments section. Yeah, even though probably when people going to do it anyway. Just because I'm for that does not mean I'm agreeing with what he's saying because he's an asshole. I mean, long story short, if I want to oversimplify, yeah, he's a bigoted asshole. Sure, if I really want to simplify it, but yeah, he doesn't like the fact that women, which of course I also brought up in a separate video quite a few times. He doesn't like the fact that women, even if they're fictional, in a storyline in Disney, he doesn't like that. Of course, and I did another video where he actually attacked the last. What's that one movie? Oh yeah, Star Wars: The Last Jedi. He just like that fact that those women in that attain leads. Of course, he's going to accuse that film of being pro-feminazi and therefore lesbianism, which of course is a stereotype. I mean, there are feminists who are lesbians, yes, but I'm still saying it's a stereotype. That doesn't automatically make you a lesbian. I mean, not there's anything wrong with wanting female rights and whatnot, but he doesn't seem to understand that there is a difference between a feminazi and a good feminist. Yes, there's a difference, believe it or not. All right, folks, that'll be it. This has been a very lengthy video. Like I said, I was trying to just keep this, just in a couple of parts, and that's it, because it went on for way too long than it should have. whatever. Just of course, as always, thanks for watching and take care. See ya. Boy, whatever. I don't know anymore. Just people. People confuse me. They really confuse me.